Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another video. This is a paid request for Bronson. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And Bronson had wanted me to review all three Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. So I did the first one. It's a new day, doing the second film. And before I get into it, you guys know the gist of the plot, but I like going through the plot just because it's just how I like talking about a movie, conversing about a movie, getting into a movie, just how I go. Peter Parker, he is adjusting to his life. He walked away from Mary Jane in the first one to keep her safe. He can't hold a job. He gets fired delivering pizzas. He's having issues at college because he's busy doing his superhero stuff. And he's still at the Daily Bugle. He gets hired, gets fired, all that stuff because of J. Jonah Jameson, once again played by J.K. Simmons. His friendship with Harry, played by James Franco, is a bit iffy because James Franco hates Spider-Man because he thinks Spider-Man killed his dad. He doesn't know the whole truth. But he's still somewhat friendly with Peter, gets him a meeting with this scientist that's going to do this experiment, Dr. Otto Octavius, played by Alfred Molina. Eventually, the experiment goes wrong. Doc Ock's wife dies in the process. Spider-Man stops it. Doc Ock gets fried a bit, and the stuff that's controlling these arms get connected to him, and he keeps hearing these voices of the machines talking to him, affects his mind, and he becomes a villain, of course. At first stealing money from banks, and then worse and worse happens. So it's Spider-Man having to try to stop Doc Ock. Also, his powers are being lost, and he doesn't quite know why it's happening. Then there's even a brief point where he quits being Spider-Man so he can enjoy his life and get what he wants, until eventually he puts on the mantle of the hero once again and goes after Doc Ock. Eventually Harry finds out Spider-Man and Peter Parker are the same person. Mary Jane is supposed to be married to J. Jonah Jameson's son, but then at the end she leaves, goes to Peter Parker, by this point knows he's Spider-Man, and says, let's try to make it work. And then the movie, goes to part 3, which would be the next video. Now, Spider-Man 2, I don't know if I saw this at the theater. I might have. I don't know, though. I might have. And I would say of the 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, this is the one I could watch. This is the one I do overall like. Because, number one, I do think this one, of all 3 of them, felt the most like a Sam Raimi movie. With the camera work and, the whole scene alone with Doc Ock awakening in his arms and the push-ins and, like, the doctor looks, pushes to his eyes. Push into the chainsaw. Like, if that's not the Evil Dead, I don't know what is. I think other people have said the Doc Ock arm scene is an Evil Dead type of sequence in terms of the energy of the camera work. And it felt like with the first film, they're trying to see what works and they're entering a field that they're not too sure of. This one felt more assured of itself. It felt more comfortable in its own skin. And I thought it was a bit more of a polished movie. Even the special effects, yes, they're 2004. But I do think between the first and the second film, the effects did get a bit better. And I'm not saying every effect shot is great, but I think a lot of the effect shots, they hold up a lot better to me compared to stuff in the first film. Hell, I think some of the effect shots here are better than the third film. The whole third film with Harry and Peter fighting, and Peter's trying to get the wedding ring. That's a whole CGI shitfest, and I think that looks worse than anything in this film. And that was 3 years later. To be or not to be Maguire, I've always said, and I will always say, I'm not a big fan of him as Spider-Man. There's other actors. I know at one point he might not have done the film because he was having back issues, and they're like, well, we're going to recast with Jake Gyllenhaal. Honestly, for me, I would have much preferred Jake Gyllenhaal as Spider-Man. I just liked his cadence better. I liked him better as an actor. I liked him better as... I know people disagree because of continuity. He was, Tobey was in the first film. A lot of people like to be or not to be. I'm not, again, not saying he's never given a good performance. I like him in Pleasantville. He did a good job in the film Brothers. My nose is itching because I'm allergic to Maguire's bullshit. But I would have preferred Jake Gyllenhaal. I know people disagree. Oh well. But eventually, I think Toby's girlfriend, her dad or someone was one of the heads of the company, and got Toby to come back for it. I do think that, let's say, him as Spider-Man, him trying to do the jokes, the humor, never thought worked. As Peter Parker, he's fine. I think it's just the way it's written to be very goofy and silly. But then it just felt like the direction, the camera work, was just a bit more assured of itself. It felt like the pacing in this went a bit quicker, maybe because in the first film you have to establish the origin. If you know most about the origin, then this is going to sound and seem very familiar. It doesn't have to go through all that baggage of setting everything up, so now you just get right into the story and move along quicker and faster, and that can help with pacing. So, and the action scenes just felt a bit more dynamic. They felt a bit more fun to watch. Doc Ock with all the multiple arms and the way Spider-Man has to maneuver around them, and whether it be the action scene at the bank and Spider-Man throwing the money bags back at Doc Ock's face, whether it be when Doc Ock has Aunt May and Spider-Man's going up, and they're going up and down the building, on the side of the building, whether it's the whole subway train sequence where they're on the side of the train, they're fighting back and forth. And I like that idea, that the fact that because Spider-Man and because both of them can stick to the sides, you don't have to limit yourself that you're fighting on a horizontal plane. It's like, would you fight on the side of a building? Would you fight on the left or right side of the train? And I like that variety. I like that choreography, because you have the two that can do that ability. You take advantage of it. So I do appreciate the action scenes in this more. Alfred Molina, I think he is the best live action Spider-Man villain portrayed. His performance. I don't mind Michael Keaton and Jake Gyllenhaal in the new Spider-Man films. I'm not big on those movies. I have a lot of issues with them, but those two were not the problem. Willem Dafoe, I think before Goblin, he's good. When he's the Goblin, I can understand people having fun, but it is a very hammy, corny performance. And like, some of it I can enjoy, but some of it's like, God damn, okay, calm down a bit. Is it Spider-Man or Power Rangers? But I thought Alfred Molina kept that balance where it felt more natural, it felt more convincing, it felt an easier flow with his demeanor, his dialogue. You bought him being nice, you bought him being sinister, but it didn't feel hammy. It didn't feel ham-fisted. It didn't feel corny when Alfred Molina played the character so. Which I'm guessing is the reason why they made him a focus in No Way Home, because even they admit that he was kind of the best. Because you didn't see Topher Grace back. I mean, Willem Dafoe had, he had focus as well. But I felt like Alfred Molina had more focus. Maybe that's just me. Trying to think. Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, I've never been a fan of. I've never been a fan of the way she portrays the character. Like, there's a bit in this, did I write it down, where she keeps complaining to Peter Parker, why won't you see my plays? You know, this person saw it, and this person saw it, and even my dad saw it, but it's like, why won't you see my plays? I'm like, maybe they fucking suck. And like, she gets a bad, no, that's the next one, actually. The one where she gets a bad review, and he's like, hey, you know, sometimes when I'm Spider-Man, you know, there are people who hate me, and she's like, well, it's not about you, it's about me. Can we make it about me? That's the next one here, but it's like, well, will you see my plays? I'm like, maybe you got other shit going on. Maybe your plays fucking suck. I wouldn't want to see your fucking plays either. I thought there were parts in here that the humor were a bit more fun. I like the Bruce Campbell once again, stopping him from entering the play. I did like the bit where after he loses powers, he has to ride up the elevator, and the other guy, and I forget the guy's name. I know he was on a lot of those. This was the 80s, this is the 90s, like the VH1 stuff. I know he got featured quite a bit. Is it Hal Sparks or is it the other guy? I can't remember his name. I don't know what he's doing nowadays. But he's in an outfit, he's like, cool Spidey outfit. Yeah. What'd you get it? Oh, I made it myself. It's a bit itchy. It rises up in the crotch a little bit too. Like, that is changing elevator. I thought that humor worked well. Something about that just felt a bit more, I keep wanting to say natural, but it just felt more comfortable. Just like that one, that's a piece of humor that I did chuckle at. I thought was kind of funny. Story-wise, I did think it was a bit soon, like I thought with Superman 2. I thought it was a bit soon to go, okay, let me stop being a hero. Now, granted, in this, he lost his powers, so in a way it wasn't his choice. I mean, granted, he didn't fight to try to regain those powers, but, like, Superman, he just, fuck the powers. I'm like, you just became Superman. So I like Superman 2, just like I like this film. But again, I just think when you get to a second film, and already they're like, I'm done with that superhero shit. That just feels a bit too soon. It feels like something that'd be maybe like a fourth film thing. I don't know about a second film thing. And of course, there's shots from the comics, like the costume and the trash can, and Peter Parker walking away. Was from the comics. But that wasn't the second comic or the third comic. At least for what I remember. Granted, to be fair, this has been about, they say, about 2 years since. So he's... Although with the way the characters are and act, it seems as if it's been like a week since the first film. I think they say like it's like 2 years since your Uncle Ben passed away. That's a weird thing. It's like, has it been 2 years? But then I don't know. And Mary Jane is a bit of a hoe. Like, she's a bit of a whore. You know, she was with Flash Thompson. Then she was with Harry Osborn. Then she has the hots for Peter Parker. Then she has the hots for Spider-Man. Because she kissed Spider-Man. Then she has the hots for Peter Parker, and she doesn't know yet that Peter Parker, I know there's the kiss at the end, she kind of does this, but her doing that meant she kissed Peter Parker. It's not like she's going to kiss Peter Parker, right then she knows she's it's not like right then she knew he was Spider-Man. It's like, I'm going to kiss you because I like you. And then she does. And then go, is he Spider-Man? You still kissed him first. So it's like, Flash Thompson, okay, he threw you away. But then it's like, okay, you want to be with Harry, but then you want to be with Peter, but then you have some fancy pants, you know, wet in your panties for Spider-Man because you kissed him when he was upside down, but then you want to deal with J. Jonah Jameson's son. I'm like, who the fuck else you don't get with? Doc Ock? Surprised she didn't get with Doc Ock in this movie. A bit of a whole bag. So yeah, just the way Kirsten Dunst, the way her character's written, especially in the third film, just the way she's kind of making it about me at times. Ugh. Shut the fuck up. Again, when the action scenes happen, the Spider-Man costume does still look good. The action scenes, again, Sam Raimi felt like he seemed more comfortable doing them. The shots, like when the test is going wrong and Spider-Man's pulling, and there's a nice shot from up top showing Spider-Man pulling the two things out of the wall. And then the bits in the bank where Spider-Man's on the ceiling and throwing stuff at Doc Ock. I mentioned, on when he's trying to rescue Aunt May. Even the shot in when Peter and Mary are in the deli, the cafe, and he uses Spidey sense, and the whole bit where they're crashing through, and Peter Parker has to try to do this to avoid the tire. I mean, it's a pretty damn hard task to put two actors in there and have this rubble debris. What's weird about that, though, is Doc Ock did that because he wanted to talk to them. To threaten Mary Jane, take her, and then tell Peter Parker, tell Spider-Man, blah blah blah, while peel the flesh from her bones. How did Doc Ock know they would survive that fucking assault? The way they threw it, it'd be like the ending of Final Destination fucking 4. Like, if Peter Parker didn't have fucking powers. Remember Final Destination 4 when the cafe got hit and you see all the damn bones like it's Mortal Kombat, the video game, and all the broken bones? That's what would happen to these two. They would be dead. And if they're dead, then Doc Ock can't use them for his benefit. It's like, well, they're dead. Shit. It's like, well, Doc Ock ran the stretch. Well, I throw this, and then he's going to avoid it. Because I don't know he's Spider-Man, but see, it doesn't make sense why Doc Ock would do that. It doesn't make sense at all. It makes for kind of a cool shot, but you look at it logically, again, if Doc Ock wants Mary Jane alive as a hostage, so Spider-Man to come there, throwing a damn, a car, whatever the hell it was, through the window, she would have been dead. She would have been dead. So it's like, well, what was Doc Ock thinking? He didn't think someone would die if he threw, a car, whatever the fuck he threw in it. He didn't think, no one's going to die if I do this. What? And you just see through the window, so it's not like he didn't know where they were at. There's a fucking window, you can see it. So again, it may kind of look like a cool shot, but it doesn't make any fucking sense if you think about it for a minute. I did like the idea of Peter Parker saving a kid even when he didn't have powers, so it shows his heroic status even without powers. Some of the humor is still cringy and corny, and those are my least favorite parts of this. Raindrop keep falling on my head. That's really annoying. That's really irritating, because I'm sitting there going, I know it's Sam Raimi wanted to impart that type of humor and goofiness into these films, and those aren't my favorite. In other films maybe, but in this film, and the Spider-Man in general, those aren't my favorite types of gags. I think the elevator humor that felt kind of like more real, I know it sounds stupid, but that felt more like real, and yeah, if you're on an elevator and you're talking to someone, maybe that's how the conversation would end up. But raindrops keep falling on my head. It seemed like goofy. Same with like sometimes the way Sam Raimi directs the extras. Like there's a point where I can't remember when the hell this happens. But there's a bit where some stuff is happening and then a girl just goes to scream, go, ah! She's like in the back here and she goes to the camera, ah! I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? So that was just really fucking weird. But again, I want to get the Aunt May, Rosemary Harris. If you wonder what that is, I'm cooking something. Don't worry, it's not a fire alarm. I'm not burning down while doing a review. Although that gets some fucking views. Someone will do that one day. The whole place will burn down. Welcome back to another review of, Backdraft. See, look, there it is right there behind me. But Rosemary Harris, there is her name. She does a really good job. I really liked her speech about being a hero. There's a hero in all of us. Kids look up to a hero. I mean, it may sound but I thought she delivered it in a way that felt nice and genuine and some good heart to it. I think because the actress that came out of, I could see that character talking that way. So I thought that was actually one of my favorite parts, was the speech she gives to Peter Parker about being a hero. So I thought that was really good. And then the train bit, I would say, is the best action scene in the film. Him getting in front of the train and doing all this stuff, and it's a big heroic moment for Spider-Man. And it tasted all of him, and then, right, I don't buy that all these people would keep his identity safe because I'm cynical. I'm like, one or two of these people are like, yeah, I won't say anything. Hey, how much you don't pay me for this? Like, it would be out within a day. His identity, Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Oh, who is this man? Oh, that's Peter Parker. Oh, he's Spider-Man. But I get it. It's to show the goodwill of the people, to show the goodwill of humanity. Again, in reality, one or two of these people would have their fucking phones out. Well, I mean, I don't know how much of that was in 2004, cell phone-wise, taking pictures, but like, they would tell. Or, I guess they wouldn't know who Peter Parker is, but they give a description. Like, somehow, some way it would get out. But yeah, I get what they're going for. So I'm like, okay, this is what, I'll go along with it. I'll take my cynicism out of it. I'll go along with it. And cool to see Joey Diaz. I like Joey Diaz as a comedian. Cool to see Joey Diaz in there. And then Doc Ock just gets people out of the way and takes him to James Franco. He finds out Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and go from there. Didn't mind the battle at the end. I would say the battle at the end I liked a bit more than the battle at the end of the first one, because the first one felt just more like just Spider-Man getting the shit kicked out of him 80% of the time, and Spider-Man doing a couple moves. Here, it felt a bit more back and forth. Plus, I think with the area, with the place coming down, and Alfred Molina, I will not die a monster. That's an example where if you want to do the villain, but they got a heart to them, and it's a tragic villain, okay, that's a good way of doing it. But don't make every other fucking villain that way, too. You can have a villain that's just evil, not misunderstood, and they were, you don't have to have every villain like that. Have some. And I think this did that well. Saves Mary Jane. Doc Ock, his invention that's going to blow up stuff. He's able to take it down. He dies along with that process. Mary Jane's going to get married. She runs off, gets with Peter Parker. She's like, I know the risk of doing this. But then the next movie, she keeps bitching and bitching and bitching. So yeah, in this film, I think the first film, it had the kind of anchor on itself to have to go through the origin and explain itself, which can sometimes be a hurdle because if people are so familiar with it, it's like, okay, cool, cool, but let's get to the other stuff. Let's get to the new stuff. Let's get to, the action. Let's get to the other stuff. This didn't have to deal with that. And the direction just felt more Sam Raimi like. In the camera work, the camera movements. Alfred Molina, I thought, was a more compelling villain. I thought he did a better overall job, acting-wise. I thought the pacing in this felt a bit quicker. The tone, there's still goofy, silly moments, but it felt as if there were more moments of kind of genuinely funny moments. The Bruce Campbell cameo, the bit with the elevator, some of the other stuff. And I just thought it was a movie that they felt more polished, more secure in making. And I definitely think they stepped up and did a better job than they did in the first film. Even effects wise, I thought they did a better job. That's just me. But I mean, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Overall, I do like the movie. I do think the movie's pretty decent. So, there you go. I don't hate this movie. If wasn't Tobey Maguire and sometimes his awkward readings that's meant to be awkward because the way, if it was like Jay Gyllenhaal, maybe I would like it even more. If it took out stuff like the raindrops keep falling on my head shit, I would like it more. But overall, I do like it. I don't love it, but I do like the film. Because for me, Spider-Man works well when he could do the humor and the wisecracks, and Tobey Maguire's just not that guy. So I just, if I don't buy him as, it's like Christian Bale. I think Christian Bale is a pretty good Bruce Wayne, but I don't buy him as Batman because that fucking voice is ridiculous. That fucking voice it makes me laugh every single time. People are fine with it. That's fine. That's your prerogative. To me, it bothers the fuck out of me. And to me, to be successful, it has to be both parts. Not just the alter ego, but as the costumed person as well. Michael Keaton I liked as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Robert Pattinson I liked as Bruce Wayne and Batman. Christopher Reeve was awesome as Clark Kent and Superman. Even Ben Affleck, people make fun of, I liked him as Murdoch, Matt Murdock, and Daredevil. And I like the Daredevil 2003 film more than any of these Spider-Man films. Especially the director's cut. So I would say around this period, Daredevil and even Hulk, like those were more for me, my taste. But Spider-Man 2, not a bad film. And I'm saving my energy up for the next one because that's, I know people, I'll get to that later, but Spider-Man 3 will be next, which I know a lot of people like. I'm not one of them. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.